And we are back at Parramatta Stadium. Hello everybody, Ray Warren joining in for the first time today on what has been a long day. Paul and Andrew, they started it down in Melbourne this afternoon. St George victorious over Melbourne. And now this most intriguing weekend continues with 2 of the bottom 8 on the table already through. Of course, we've got Brisbane to try and do it tomorrow. We've got Newcastle tonight. And I must say to you that this McIntyre system that we've heard so much about, I find just so interesting, and it is really proving, well, mystical, I think is the word, because we're going to have to wait until tomorrow night to see who in fact is going to go through and who's not. A big crowd is in at Parramatta Stadium. I probably think it's around about 22,000 people. It would take more. There are plenty of positions on the hill area as the Eels come out victorious over Newcastle on 2 occasions this year. Winners of the Premiership in 1981, 82, 83 and 86. And up against Newcastle, the winners in 1997. The Rookie of the Year, Michael Vella, so voted upon this year. And now Newcastle, with Tony Butterfield taking them out. And of course the army of red and blue, they have come down from Newcastle for tonight's encounter, and many thousands of them are here. This is going to be a most interesting night. There is no doubt about that. And you're watching it live on the 9 network. Stephen Roach is on the sideline. He's got just about the best seat in the house. Hello, Stephen.
Yeah, can't wait for it to start. The most important thing for the Knights is to play open football. Don't fall in the trap of trying to play mistake-free footy. They need to use the ball as much as they can. While defence generally wins big games, Parramatta are the best in the league. 19 degrees, a light to moderate nor'wester. The Knights have won the toss and are running left to right. Can't wait for this one, Ray.
I know you can't, big fella. It's that time of the year, as we said last night. And anything can happen. Stephen Clark is the referee, the man in charge.
That's right.
Already Canterbury and St George have proven that you can be the underdog and win. It won't surprise me one iota if teams 5, 6, 7 and 8 are the winners in this weekend's battle.
And if that is the case, Ray, then we would see Melbourne and Sydney City exit. And I'll make my first prediction of the night, Ray. I'll say the first man to be tackled this evening will be Tony Butterfield.
Time on. Welcome to the telecast. Welcome to the continuation of a weekend of rugby league. You were right, Sterling. You're a genius, and we've got a Parramatta player injured. He's in big trouble, the Parramatta player. Clinton O'Brien takes a buffeting.
It was Jim Dimmick, Ray, just getting back to his feet, as you can see.
So Butterfield it was who took it forward, and Dimmick, he went in awkwardly, he paid the penalty. Just keep an eye on him, Pete. We'll take a double check on Jim Dimmick in just a moment. The ball bouncing down, kicking on an early tackle there. Newcastle. And Luke Burton is running around them to reach 38 metres out from his own line. Burt in the side in jumper number 17. And this is Daniel Wagon. The Ansett Australia final series. Second night. Dean Pay. Clark saw a forward pass.
Well, that must have come from the sideline, surely. Steve Clark was 10 metres back, not in a good position to call a forward pass on Jared McCracken. I thought it looked okay. The touch judge disagrees.
Well, in the box tonight, we've got Peter Sterling, of course, the Parramatta champion. And, of course, Paul Harrigan. I just can't believe how he's going to handle this commentary. The 19 for Newcastle is McDougall. I felt for Phil Gould this afternoon trying to do commentary on St George Illawarra versus Melbourne.
And plenty of feeling out there, Ray. Kidwell and McDougall standing toe-to-toe as O'Brien takes it close to the 20-metre line. He's wrestled by Dimmick, who has recovered quite well.
Played by O'Brien to the right for Shields. Now they're just outside the Parramatta 10-metre line in front of a crowd of around 23,000 probably, as Andrew delivers. Butterfield! Butterfield! He's over the line! It's a try! He points to the spot. I was about to say to Paul Harrigan,
Which way do you want it? In front or chasing?
In front, Tony Butterfield, absolute superb try. Newcastle started with ferocious defence, speed of the line. As you can see here, Andrew Johns passed a nice ball to Tony Butterfield, bends off 2 or 3, and pure strength to get over there. Peter, a great start for us.
Surging run here from Butterfield. When you retired, they needed Butterfield to even rise to greater heights. He's done that early in this game. Jason Smith, an arm tackle on Butterfield. It will never be effective on a big man with momentum. And David Penner, Skiffoliti and Shabosky unable to stop Butterfield, reaching out and getting the first try only a couple of minutes into this game.
Well, Peter Sterling said that he'd be the first man to handle the football. He was that. And almost on the end of the same set, he handled the football over Rugby League's dress circle. He's put it down for 4.
And again, crucial mistakes at your own end of the field are going to cost you at these big games. A forward pass thrown by Parramatta on their 3rd tackle gave the Knights possession, and they've taken full advantage.
I don't know what the crowd's booing about. They're probably trying to put Andrew Johns off, but he doesn't need any of that. 6-0 is the score. Newcastle after just 2 minutes. Steve Roach.
Inspirational Butterfield. You want to know how to get out of the form slump? Follow me. Look at that. The first try to the big front rower. Very underrated player.
Well, that's just a magnificent start for Warren Ryan's team. And of course, the contest isn't restricted to 34 players. Here's Butterfield again. Well, he's playing the lead actor and the support actor as well. O'Brien's right behind him. Give me a go, please give me a go, he said. Now a beautiful run out from dummy half by Danny Badeiras. A lightning start for Newcastle. Andrew puts a kick in. It bounces down on the 20-metre line for Luke Burt again. The contest off the ground, I was about to say, it extends from 34 players to 2 great coaches, and in many ways, very similar coaches. That man, Brian Smith, being one of them.
I've got to say, Newcastle's start has been superb. In that last set of 6, they made about 40 or 50 metres. If you have a look here, they're trapping Parramatta down in their own 30-metre mark with some great defence. Exactly what they need.
So Jason Smith now, standing, taking the tackle, offloading, Shabosky. And Clinton has tackled on the halfway line. Away now for David Penner's boot. And bouncing down towards the Newcastle 10 for Robbie O'Davis. Oh, gee, that was heavy. That was David Kidwell, the number 3. 19 again is McDougall. No Jason Moody. I mean, some of the decisions. Oh, here's O'Davis with a clean break. No support. One to beat. Tries to run around him. But the Parramatta number 1 has got him and put him out. Tremendous effort.
Well, the number 1s don't come together too often, but great work from both of them. Robbie O'Davis scooting out of dummy half, and the Knights making great ground from that part. And here's Shabosky, he's picked him up, and with Luke Burt, they've thrown him over the sideline.
That's a tremendous show of strength.
I don't think I've seen a crowd, Paul, pardon me, I don't think I've seen a crowd that from the time they kicked off, they've been on their feet and they haven't gone back to their seats yet.
I tell you what, no one's been disappointed here. As Parramatta starter, it's been a very physical match, that's for sure.
Kidwell. Now Dimmock. 25 metres out from their own line, the Eels.
And just pointing out, Ray, despite the fact Luke Burt was named in the centres, coming in for Stuart Kelly, Daniel Wagon is actually in the centres, Luke Burt playing on the right wing.
Talking of Wagon, there he is, playing on left centre. And they're just beyond their own 40-metre line, Parramatta. They really haven't been down the other end. They will be shortly, because here's a penalty. And Jason's trying to find somebody inside the 10. He doesn't do that. Runs across and offloads. And it's back with him again. Now he's away for Penner. Penner slipping out of a tackle. Gidley makes the tackle eventually. A quick play the ball by Parramatta. They keep the pot boiling. Now the pass goes to ground. Bounces away for Dean Pay. And Pay is put down, slammed down, in fact, on the Newcastle 20-metre line. That's where they are, right in the centre of the park. Penner on, Dimmock away. Now McCracken on the flat. Dimmock again, using the short side, just for a moment. Back for Penner. Penner on for Shabosky. Shivovsky dancing his way past the 10-metre line. Pulled down eventually by Matthew Johns playing in the headgear. Now they go to the blind side again. That kick looks too deep to me. Yes, it is.
Well, we've got another penalty for Parramatta. Stephen Clark has played advantage. There was none, so he's got Newcastle for being offside. And what a penalty on the last. They're like gold.
Schiavoletti asking the question of Dean Pay, what'll I do? You may have noticed that Parramatta had 2 captains listed on our team rundowns, and that's the way it is here at Parramatta, with Dean Pay and Jared McCracken sharing the job. Now it's away for Penner, and he goes on for Smith, and then the run around for himself, and then he bounces away from one. Back for Jason Smith. The tackle wasn't good enough. Vella got it away. And Shivovsky! Shivovsky's over! Under the uprights, under the black dot. Newcastle has fallen apart. Beautiful stuff. This man is so light on his feet. Clinton Shivovsky has levelled the scores. Well, you might as well say that he has.
And it did come about through a couple of sets of consecutive sixes. This was the advantage played by Stephen Clark. He ruled that the outside defenders for the Knights got up too quickly. And at the end of the next set of 6, after keeping the football alive, Shivovsky sees a little gap in front and his acceleration takes him straight through it. Vella offloaded to Shivovsky. He props, straightens up between 2 forwards, carries Billy Peden over the line, and that should equalise things with an easy conversion attempt.
Yeah, it certainly was a great try. Some good sets of hands here. Smith is breaking out of a tackle. Nice pass there. Vella also there. Now here comes Shivovsky. Great feet. Tremendous pace. And I'll tell you what, Parramatta's young guns are going to play a huge part in today. Luke Burt, Shivovsky, look at him go over. He's a great player, very important to Parramatta, and will convert very shortly. It is straight in front.
There has not been a player in rugby league that I can remember that has come ahead as quickly as Clinton Shivovsky since those days that he probably would rather forget with the Brisbane Crushers.
And in particular, the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been in absolutely superb form, nothing short of it.
He's right in front to convert his own try, and he should do that. It'll be a formality. A big crowd waiting behind the uprights, hoping for a touch of the quarter-final ball. And there it goes into the crowd. It is 6 points all. We will break live on the 9 Network with Rugby League. And we welcome our viewers on pay TV that are taking our telecast on delay, on replay. Already it's obvious that this is going to be one that is going to be very much a case of it's my serve, it's your serve, and that's the way it's been so far. Newcastle opened with a brilliant try. Parramatta retaliated. It is 6-all. Back live at Parramatta Stadium, just a little break. You haven't missed anything. We're on about the second tackle, and Jason Smith has lost the ball. Oh dear. Problems for Parramatta, because now, and this is what happened, referee ruling that he lost it of his own accord. He couldn't find a culprit, and the scrum will pack 20 metres away from the Parramatta line. So a great chance. Both packs of forwards out of the equation as Matthew goes across for the other Matthew, Gidley. 20 metres out from the Parramatta line. McDougall and away. Badiris floating it for Andrew. Just how fit and well he is remains to be seen. He's not well after being tackled there. Badiris getting it away for Butterfield. And Butterfield plays it back for Robbie O'Davis. Glenn Grief, who's just inside the 10-metre line. Now for Andrew. Keen to catch and pass. Matthew puts it on the boot. A chase. Oh! Parramatta's Luke Burt. He tried to bat it over the dead ball line. He succeeded, but there were a few palpitations.
Yeah, that's an important part of Newcastle game. Statistically, they score more tries from those little kicks through than anything else. And Matthew Gidley certainly knows how important it is. And wherever Matthew or Andrew Johns are, when they're kicking the opposition's in goal, he's Johnny on the spot all the time.
Steve Roach.
Yeah, Ray, of course you were mentioning the coaches a little bit earlier. The war of words started this morning when Warren Ryan accused Stephen Clark of being the hometown hero and giving penalties to the side whose home game it was. So the pressure on at the moment.
So Darren Albert playing the ball. Grief is on, O'Brien is off, and that is Grief with the ball. Short and nuggety. I think he played here at one stage at Parramatta. I think he was a product of Fairfield Patrician Brothers. As they come across from Peden and go to Rudder, and Rudder is taken on by Jason Smith and David Penner and put away as Badiris gives it on, and then Matthew gives it back for Glenn Grief, and he's getting very involved, the nuggety front row forward. He'll get the job done. They're just only, what are they, 10 metres away. Matthew Johns is close. 5 tackles gone. Badiris, a lovely pass, bullet-like. And Andrew rolls it into the end goal. Luke Burt gets it back. That's good work by the young winger for Parramatta.
Yes, no surprise that they will be peppering Luke Burt's wing. An experienced as Kidwell does well to get the ball back inside of the man we were talking about. Shavosky made a good tackle on Matthew Johns, but I still think Johns would have scored if it hadn't have been for the help of Nathan Hindmarsh coming in to stop him getting the ball down. And that is the 3rd penalty for Parramatta. They lead in that department 3-0.
Players over on the Cronin stand side of the ground. And Parramatta away for Jason Smith, and another penalty. That's 4-0 the penalties.
Well, I'll tell you what, Newcastle certainly let the pressure off now, those 2 penalties in a row. Parramatta and the Newcastle Knights have just been chatted for talk. Going to pull Tony Butterfield up and have a yarn to him and see what the problem is.
And Parramatta have to kick the goal here, surely.
Whoa. Yeah, you're fine. You can speak to me. You speak to me how I speak to you. I was trying to be civil. Whoa, that's one warning. The next bloke, you know what's happening, all right? Now you cut it out and wear it.
Yeah, Tony Butterfield was saying, look, I'm trying to talk to you. But I think what Clark is saying, you've got to speak to me with respect.
They're playing a final out there, and there are going to be some words spoken in the heat of battle. Fair dinkum, just let them play the game without pulling them up for little things that don't need to be pulled up.
Well, it's amazing, since they brought the edict in about dissent, Stephen Clark has suddenly found himself on the front page.
Now, look, I'm not advocating that you can swear at referees, but you've got to show some kind of latitude out there in the heat of battle. And again, I'm not advocating that, you know, it's a good thing, but there's got to be some compassion shown to some degree.
Well, Newcastle have come from attacking the line up the other end of the ground. 2 penalties and an advancement of the mark, and they're kicking for 2 points. I wonder what value they will be in the final analysis. And keep in mind there was some dissent involved as Shavosky puts it straight over the black dot. Another 2 points to Parramatta. Brian Smith continues to chew the gum. He'd be happy with the decision, but I can assure you that a lot of people in rugby league would agree with Peter Sterling. I must say to you, though, I feel a little bit for Stephen Clark. He's probably, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, been carrying out an edict that's been handed down to him by the administrators. And suddenly the #1 referee, who hasn't been on the front pages, finds himself there for carrying out the instructions of the Sergeant Major. That seems to me to be a bit of a shame. Tukey is on. You'll hear the crowd. They'll go up in the background, and he handles the ball. Tukey. Now Dimmick. And away for Penner. And across for Smith, and that's forward. Out for Wagon. Oh, thank God he got that. Clark got a great call from the touch judge, who was right on top of it. We had a perfect line.
But it hasn't been the best of starts for Jason Smith in this match. Knock on in the play the ball area, missed the tackle on Tony Butterfield, and now a forward pass again early in the tackle count. One thing about Jason Smith, he will continue to try things, and that's what makes him so dangerous.
Newcastle now going very wide early from the scrum. McDougall, he'll play the ball 45 metres away from the Parramatta line. Peden short ball back for McDougall, who's been very highly involved. We welcome our viewers through the United Kingdom and down through Europe again through Sky UK. They've joined us for the final series down here in Australia. And of course in New Zealand, we welcome you people as well. As Andrew Johns is put away, 31 metres away from the Parramatta line. Now it comes across for Matthew Johns, and he's put down with that fracture of the cheekbone or something like that as Andrew goes to the air, and underneath it with his eyes glued to the ball is Clinton Shavovsky. You'll struggle to find a weak spot with him as they take the tap and come back quickly. Parramatta fans reckon that Newcastle were inside the 10 from the restart. Kalis is on for Parramatta in jumper number 20. They get a ball away. McCracken is with him, coming off his own 30-metre line, leaving the Eels at the end of this year. And he's clutching at his eye. Jared has got a problem.
I can tell you, with eye injuries, there's nothing more scary. You think the worst straight away. Hopefully he'll be fine there. Maybe a bit of a poke in the eye.
No, come here. There you are. Jared,
You want to name him? Gouging. Let's listen to this.
Tell me what. Come out here. Just have a listen to this. Wait, what are you saying?
Fucking, well, I don't know if it's a gouge, but the cunt got me in the fucking eye.
You don't know. You just said it was. Either it was or it wasn't.
Repeat his hand.
Don't worry, forget about it.
It's a pretty loose allegation. It's a fairly loose allegation in more ways than one. I can only say that and leave a lid on it. But Jared was tackled by Danny Badiris. Is that Simpson out there? Yes, it is. Steve Simpson and Danny Badiris. And it would be Danny Badiris that the allegation was to be made about. But I've got to say to you, I don't think there's been any firm allegation made. It was far too loose. You couldn't accept that.
Well, there was no hand around the eye area at all, and I suppose with live television we must apologise for the language that might come through at times as Luke Burt comes in field, takes it inside 40.
So it's the Eels by 2. It's Penner. It's a kick in that is going to possibly reap them some dividends. Work for Newcastle's Robbie O'Davis. 18 minutes gone, 18 minutes of brilliant excitement. First points on the board came after 2 minutes. Here's O'Davis, and they get a penalty, Newcastle. That's their first.
Yeah, an anonymous sign for Parramatta. You can see now a lot of their second phase play starting to come off. A few offloads, the ad-lib, a few kicks here and there starting to pay off for them. And when they're in that mode, they're pretty well unstoppable. Hopefully Newcastle here can get some ascendancy. A good set of 6 right on the 50-metre line.
4-1 the penalty count.
Well, I think Tony Butterfield's had the best start of the game, except for that, I've seen in a long time.
Badiris there. Wave of grief, and grief is taken by Vella. Able to unload. Andrew goes to the 40-metre line. Opposition into the ground. Gidley gets it away. It's now with Albert. And Albert is put down 33 metres away from the Parramatta line. Play on the Thornette side of the ground. The number 15 in the red and blue jumper is David Lomax. And now they attack just outside the 20-metre line from Matthew Johns. It finds Matthew Gidley. Gidley puts a kick in. And it's with Luke Burt, who's had a busy night over there. And he's taken down by Mark Hughes and Adam McDougall. Now for David Kidwell to bring it away. He runs it at Rudder, and Rudder brings him down on the 20-metre line. Parramatta's into the ground. Lomax is on, by the way, for Butterfield. And this is the 8 for Parramatta. Dean Pay, a welcome return to the Parramatta side. He's had some niggling injuries right through the year, Dean. And I don't think his coach has rushed him to come back and play at all because he knows his value at the finals. Here's a chance for the Eels. Now together by Jason Smith. He's given the ball away. It's gone on from Kalis. It's gone to Kidwell. Kidwell puts a kick in. Andrew Johns has made a mess of it. Now it's been put over the dead ball line. It was a desperate kick. I think it was Darren Albert.
I think it's Danny Badiris, Ray. I may be wrong, but they were both there. A planned move here, a deliberate kick for Jason Smith. Nathan Kalis out in the centres, found Kidwell. I questioned the option of the kick at the end, but he got a shocking bounce, Andrew Johns. And then coming to save the day was the hooker. That's an enormous effort from the number 9.
Yeah, as I said before, Parramatta starting to chance their hand, throwing the ball around, and it really is paying off for them. And lucky for Newcastle, Dan Abideris just beat Luke Burt for the race, kicked that ball over the dead board line, but Parramatta got more sets of 6 to come with the goal line dropout coming.
More troubles for Jim Dimmick, you might have seen. And the dropout is a good one. With the bounce, it's gone 55 metres for Wagon to take it back. Or in fact, Eric Growth it is. Now, on the run is Farrell. Made state of origin this year. Play, Parramatta putting it together with quick play the balls. Hand off and away. Moran for Dimmick. Parramatta looking very, very dangerous. 15 metres away from the line. Penner. Smith holding it up. Then a face ball. Wagon for Growth.
Great tackle, Johns, once again. That time Darren Albert in attention as well as Smith finds Penner.
Dean Pay has taken the ground. 5 tackles gone for Parramatta. Penner again. Busy. Dimmick probing. Grubbing kick. Bouncing favourably for me.
Oh, what a dangerous thing to do. But McDougall did it. We will take a break and be back in a moment. Parramatta lead by 2.
Wow, Adam McDougall. I have never seen that, I don't think, ever. Andrew Johns takes the line dropout. You won't hear any co-commentary from Paul Harrigan for a few seconds. He's getting up off the floor.
No, he's actually heading.
It's Parramatta by 2. And they're back on the attack. Jason Smith will play the ball 30 metres away from the Newcastle line. Through from David Penner, down low for Mark Tukey. He did well. Then for Moran, and to the run for Kalis. Nathan made the national side for New Zealand last year. They use the short side, and Penner's got troops around him. Tackled on 5, a couple of metres from the line for Moran. He goes to the air. Oh, it's a lovely kick, and up goes Darren Albert. Oh, that's a tremendous take.
Well, one of the
Great take by Darren Albert.
One of the statistics I mentioned earlier in the match was the fact that Newcastle have to have more possession than Parramatta. Around about 55%, and I tell you, the last 2 or 3 sets, that just hasn't happened.
Smales is on, Moran is on. Both coaches using their bench and using it often and early. Lomax playing it back for Badeiros, and now for Matthew Johns to go to the halfway line. Pulled down by Nathan Kalis before it was played, and it came away for Clinton O'Brien. It went to ground, and Parramatta have got the ball.
That's one.
Personally, I think it should have been a knock-on.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ray. I think the Parramatta hand knocked the football on before it was reclaimed. Good call there for the home team as Kalis, who's made an impact since coming off the bench, he's tackled 45 out from his own line. They go the short side through Kidwell.
So Moran delivers to the open side, and it's with Vella and then back for Moran, waiting to be of some use before Smith finds a Kelly. Kelly is on, and that will please a few people because he's got plenty of admirers. Stuart Kelly coming off the bench tonight. Hindmark pulled down by Peden. They're doing a lot of work, Newcastle. They're doing it in defense rather than offense, and that's not good. Now Kidwell puts a kick in. It goes out on the full. So that will allow Newcastle off the hook just for a moment. Stephen Roach.
Injury problems are starting them out for the Eels. Jared McCracken, he's all right after that eye injury. He's back on the bench. And Eric Growth has got a rib problem, and they're just checking him right now.
Close up on the screen of Matthew Johns. It was a look of, I don't know whether it was a look of frustration or a look of despair. Here's O'Davis trying to work down the left of the ground.
Well, Ray, I think it's fair to say that Parramatta have had the best of this game for the opening 25 minutes, but the good thing for the Newcastle team is that they only trail by 2 points. So they're well and truly in a position where they can go on and do something in this match. They've just got to get through this pressure that's being applied as Gidley is pushed back by Kelly.
Andrew Johns with a kick that he had to hurry, and Shavovsky, who got the Parramatta try, is tackled about 23 metres out from his own line. And now a penalty goes against Newcastle for inside the 10.
Well, Ray, that's 5 penalties to 1, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't be 5 penalties to 1, but the thing I am saying is there have been times where I believe that Parramatta could have been penalised for that exact offence. Certainly have seen them inside the 10 on occasions. I would imagine that Warren Ryan believes there may be some lack of consistency in that call.
Tukey now plays it just inside the 30-metre line. That was a heavy tackle on Vella. Made more spectacular by the fact that the ball carrier left the ground. Moran tries to crawl over the 20-metre line. He will play the ball back for Jason Smith, a dummy half, and then through from David Penner, and it's gone away from Dimmick for Shavovsky. And he will be made to play the ball just inside the 20-metre line. Dimmick now. And then Penner, and Penner finds Tukey, and Tukey hits and spins, and then finds Moran, and Moran is down 15 metres away from the Newcastle line. Parramatta again looking for points as Kelly drops it on the boot, and it's picked up by Butterfield for Newcastle. So it's a rather hesitant restart for the Newcastle side, as Darren Albert is pulled down 15 metres away from his own line on what would be the first tackle. Butterfield's tackle would have been the 0. And this is Daniel Smales now. The ball going loose. And Clark says play on. So it's a chance for Parramatta now. McCracken is tackled 9 metres from the line. Moran ducks underneath them. Almost gets there. Kidwell, Penner, Smith, back on the inside. Vella, Dimmick, Smith, dummy, goes back. 11 away from the line. Moran and Penner to the line. Offload, batted away by Tukey. Then from Kalis for Shavovsky. Newcastle battling. They're struggling to stay with them at the moment. Jason Smith has scored. Did he get it down? He's pointed to the spot. Nothing else matters now. Stephen Clark has awarded a try.
And Smith's reaction there was almost as though, oh no, what have I done? I've dropped this. But Stephen Clark in no doubt that the ball was planted down. Again, sustained pressure. Daniel Smales pushed a pass over the far side of the field to Robbie O'Davis that should never have been thrown. Robbie O'Davis wasn't going anywhere. Would have been much better off just to take the tackles. Jared McCracken swooped on the football. And again, in that set of 6, towards the end of it, Jason Smith takes advantage of a nice little pass on the inside. Smales slow to come up off the defensive line. And Smith, well, he was able to get through that gap and get the ball down.
Yeah, it certainly was a great little play at the end. Jason Smith was using a nice little line there, nice right foot. He's beaten Dave Lomax to go over. It was tremendous defence by Parramatta. When Newcastle are trying to get out of their own line, their defence line was so compressed and their speed line was so quick, it put them under maximum pressure, which caused Dan Smales to offload that ball.
I'm just trying to work out what's happened here with Jason. I thought for a moment he was trying to exemplify his frustration.
Well, does O'Davis get him with an accidental knee as he comes across?
Oh yeah, he's picked up the left knee of Robbie O'Davis. But I must say to you, and I think a lot of people agreed, that originally I thought he was showing his frustration at dropping the football.
Well, it looked to me that Robbie O may have hit the football first and then bounced off the ball and hit Smith on the chin, on the head area.
Well, the Parramatta faithful weren't too impressed with the Robbie O'Davis action. I've got no dramas with it. I don't think he tried to kick the football out a la Matthew Ridge a few seasons ago. And a wrap also for Dennis Moran. A nice little sleight of hand pass to Jason Smith. And Moran coming into this game offers a different style of attack out of dummy half to Dean Skiffoliti.
Yeah, Parramatta would be confident at the moment. You can just see with their offloads and their little kicks and everything's just coming off with them at the moment. They have more ball than Newcastle, so they certainly are on top. With a kick to come, they can take a nice little lead.
So another look at the try. Let's have a look at what happens here with Robbie O'Davis. Comes in. I can't quite parallel it with Matthew Ridge down at Brookvale a few years ago. I would have penalised Ridge for indiscriminate kicking, but that wasn't the case there. Shivovsky from 15 metres in from touch and 20 metres out to convert Parramatta's second try. Put on the board by Jason Smith. What a good player. So is this kid. What a big match he had in Brisbane the other night. 12-6. Parramatta by 6. Live Rugby League, the Ansett Australia final series, and Shivovsky has got it. Another 2 points. We will take a break. Be back in just a moment. Young bloke in the studios of B Sky B in London hosting tonight, Christopher Warren. I hope you're having a good time over there watching this. Your team is in front.
Hit the ground and then got up.
As you come back to us, Newcastle gets a penalty. 14-6. Parramatta in front, 2 tries to 1.
And the penalty comes about from a pass being thrown off the ground. The referee ruling that Luke Burt, in throwing the pass to Clinton Shivovsky, had been tackled. And Newcastle now with a chance far out from half-time.
Andrew Johns punching it along the line. And O'Davis comes in. Robbie O'Davis comes in to take it 5 metres from the line for Albert. And then for Gidley. Then for Andrew. And it was taken by a falling Tony Butterfield. 12 away from the line. Simpson. Rudders pass, finding Andrew Johns, then Matthew. It came off his fingertip. Parramatta put a touch on it, and it'll be a scrum. It will be Newcastle's advantage from the scrum, right in the centre of the park. There's no better place on the ground that you would like to have the loose head and feed. They're 10 metres out, right in front of the uprights.
Well, he's given Parramatta the scrum feed there. He is ruling that Matthew Johns knocked on. I find that a little bit difficult to believe as Luke Burt gets bundled into touch, so I think a little bit of justice.
Well, I turned away to look at Paul Harrigan for a moment when you told us that, in fact, he'd given the feed to Parramatta. I found that rather hard to believe myself, but this is what happened in the final wash-up, and now Newcastle will get the feed. Clark wants it in field. He wants it right on the 20-metre line.
Get it up. Dean P. Tony Butterfield, get it right away. Don't come in. Don't come in. Don't come in. Listen, wait. Don't come in. If you go in before I get around there, you'll get cop one. Just wait. Now wait.
Newcastle, golden opportunity. Can they do it? Gidley gets it away for Darren Albert. 15 away from the line. Thornett side of the ground. Parramatta got a player down injured. Gidley. Eric Growth is hurt. Albert now from acting half for Matthew Johns and then for Bill Peden. Now they're in the centre. They come to the right. Gidley! Yes!
points to the spot again for the 4th time in the game. Parramatta 14,
And
Newcastle 10.
Sorry, Ray, I do think Newcastle had to be the next to score, and they've done it through some individual brilliance again from Matthew Gidley. One of the great young centre prospects running around them. Haven't we got some in the game at the moment? He comes back in field, he wrong foots a couple of defenders. He left the 5'8" Jim Dimmock clutching at thin air. And Newcastle, they get a much-needed 4-pointer.
Yeah, Sean Ryan, a great effort. He went really wide from the ruck, which made the gap. And Gidley's come in on a nice angle. He's got plenty of strength, great feet. You can see a left arm bend there. Reaches over with the right arm for a great try. A little bit of feeling started to come in this match too. As you saw before in the scrum, there was plenty of feeling with Butterfield and Pay. And before, when one of the Parramatta wingers got pushed over the edge, there was plenty of talk. So it's looking good for Newcastle.
I do apologise to Jim Dimmock. In fact, it was Dean Pay. The 8 was a 6. And Gidley, well, he's probably got to get more involved in this game. I'm looking for the football a little bit more, because you've just seen what he is capable of.
Andrew to make it 14-12. And there it goes. Oh, he's pushed it away. Well, that might well come back to haunt the number 7 for Newcastle. 14-10, Steve Roach.
I just thought Newcastle were looking a little bit flat. They needed a couple of decisions to go their own way. That time, a little bit of brilliance there from Gidley. Geez, a good player. He gets a try and gets the Newcastle Knights back into the match.
I don't want to misquote his coach, Warren Ryan, but I fancy when he first went to Newcastle, he described this boy, Gidley, as the best centre he's coached. And coming from Warren Ryan, that is a huge rap. Look at Captain Courageous. Poor old Dimmock keeps going up on him, and he bounces away like a squash ball on the front wall.
Jimmy, he's got enough experience to learn. You don't turn up next time.
Here he is again. Your serve. Up he goes, and down he comes again. Good boy, Jimmy.
He's having a great game, Butsy.
Peter Shields floating it, Rudder along. McDougall straight ahead. And typically McDougall, very much like Hancock, he keeps going. Even when he's on the ground, he keeps crawling. And then Johns puts it in the air. Shivovsky gets underneath it to bring it back. 14-10, Parra. 36th minute. Kelly. 22 out from his own line. Moran. 104-90 the tackles. Newcastle's made the most of them. Or made more of them, I think is the right English. Before somebody jumps on me. Now Tukey. There's plenty out there would love to do that.
Give yourself a rap.
Oh, jeez, I got a nice cooking from somebody for giving Shivovsky a rap in the match against Brisbane. Talk about a cooking. Now Newcastle. Albert. Gidley away from the 30, dancing away. He beats Stuart Kelly for the record. The ball goes loose and picked up by Daniel Wagon. Wagon with an arcing run. Gidley made the mistake. Careless. Schiavoletti it is. David Penner. Half-time, 2.5 minutes away. Schiavoletti again. Oh, Dimmock, beautiful. McCracken equally. Kalis away. Kidwell with it. And Kidwell wrestling with Mark Hughes. Intercepted by Bill Peden for Newcastle. It was lovely ball promotion by Parramatta. McDougall. Parramatta's defence. It's been tested a couple of times by Newcastle, but on a yearly basis, it's been the best in the league. Rudder, straight ahead, 10 metres. Badiris. Matthew Johns back forward. Knocked on.
Forward pass, boys.
It'll be a scrum and a feed for Parramatta. Loose head for Parramatta.
Andrew Johns pretty disappointed with this one. Matthew passes the ball back there to Danny Badiris and he just drops it. As I said before, Andrew Johns very frustrated. He throws the ball down because he knows with just a minute to go, there's only a couple of sets left in this half. Would have been nice to score just before half-time.
This is a big minute and a half as well. Parramatta could put something on here. It would really deflate Newcastle, who I think would be fairly happy going in just 4 points down with the way this first half has gone.
The Eels then sending the big boy ahead. Tukey to the 20-metre line.
If they didn't,
Schiavoletti.
they didn't score in 5, Ray, I'd be happy to take 1 point.
I thought Hindmarsh unloaded, but he didn't. Away it goes for Penner. Now for Kalis. Then second man, Dimmick. Off the shoulder of Kidwell. Knocked on by McDougall. So it makes no difference really. They'll give the loose head and feed to Newcastle. And there won't be much more action before half-time.
Yeah, certainly the last couple of sets from both sides has been a bit of a drop ball and no one's really sort of getting on top. But there's only probably half a set here. They might just get the set out Newcastle and coming from their own 10-metre line, I expect, just for them to complete.
Matthew John with 15 seconds of the first half remaining. Peter Shields. Badiris. Then a long ball finding Andrew. Inside ball for Rudder. Rudder back throw Davis. Davis is tackled right on the half-time siren. Stephen Clark calling time. We've had 4 tries in the game. 2 apiece, the first coming after 2 minutes for Tony Butterfield for Newcastle. But Parramatta replied and then most definitely had the best of the first half. 14-10. That's the halftime score in the third qualifying quarter-final. And welcome back to Parramatta Stadium, Saturday Night Live Rugby League. And the second night of the Ansett Australia Final Series coming to you from Parramatta Stadium in front of a very big crowd. When I say a very big crowd by Parramatta Stadium standards, it certainly is. And the home side is in front by 14 points to 10, Parramatta. They gained the right to play at home in the first use by the Rugby League of the McIntyre system. As we have a look at the statistics out of the first half of the game.
One of the best young players to come through the ranks here at Parramatta for many a year, Nathan Hindmarsh, leads the tackle count with 14. Schiavoletti, as always, working hard in the middle of the ruck, and really the hit-ups shared by 5 or 6 players with about that many next to their names. And for the Newcastle team, plenty of work's done by the outside backs. Matthew Gidley has got 13 tackles. Billy Peden, the workaholic lock forward, has 14. Glenn Grief off the bench, 10. And Tony Butterfield, I think, their best forward. And Paul Harrigan, I'd like to apologise for calling you Paul Vorton at the break.
Apologies accepted, Stella.
Grabs, they look alike.
So Stephen Clark blows time on, second half. And Parramatta taking a 4-point advantage into the game. As McCracken brings it back to be tackled just inside the 20-metre line. They certainly had the first half, they had the better of it, Parramatta. And I tend to agree with Peter Sterling. I think Warren Ryan would have been quite happy with just a 4-point deficit. It will be interesting to hear what the coaches did say. We'll go to Steve Roach in a moment. Played over there by Hindmarsh, who had a very high work rate in the first half of the game. And now Daniel Wagon. This is the last tackle for Parramatta. David Penner gets a kick in that goes high and across the park. McDougall's lost it. Chance for Parramatta. Dimmick gets it away. Kidwell for the corner. And David Kidwell is tackled by Robbie O'Davis.
Parramatta keep coming at them. Dimmick. Burt now. Back for McCracken. Losing it behind him, and Newcastle have got it back. Well, that was a nothing play by McCracken. O'Davis now. Wonderful opportunity for Parramatta early in the second half. Butterfield.
He came up with a good tackle. Robbie O'Davis is another mistake for the Newcastle team. We'll see them give possession to the opponents. I thought that there was no way that O'Davis could stop David Kidwell from scoring. He did a fine job, and the Parramatta side now have another opportunity early in this second half.
So the Eels with another opportunity as Dimmick drifts across the park before trying to straighten Kidwell up, and he's tackled about 28 metres out from the line. They come down the short side, outnumbered there. Shavovsky comes up on the inside of Dimmick, and Shavovsky plays it on the 20-metre line. Now they mount some numbers on the right of the ground, and David Penner is tackled, as you can see, just inside the 10. Dimmick, the pass out in front of Luke Burt, so it's been a very sloppy start by both sides in the second half. Steve Roach is back from the shed. Steve, what have you got to tell us?
Yeah, well, Ray, just a quick one on the injury to Jason Smith. They're going to give him 5 minutes, and then they're going to reassess whether he can come back on the field. I've got Parramatta's Justin Morgan with me. Brian Smith, what did he say at half-time? I suppose that he'd be disappointed with the amount of football that Parramatta had, and the scoreline only being 14 points to 10.
Yeah, exactly. We really need to control the ball a little bit more. If we're going to play this kind of football, we need to play it down their end. And when they're down our end of the field, we certainly need to put the alarm bells on when the Johns boys get the ball in their hand. Yeah,
they certainly ask you the question when they've got a set of 6 tackles attacking in your 20-metre area. They have a go at you 3 or 4 times.
They certainly do, and they've got so many options. They can run, kick, pass, and they've got some other good players in their side, like Gidley, who's got some good footwork as well.
Chance here for David Penner. Penner's away. Penner. Oh, great defence by O'Davis.
Well, put Robbie O down for 2 try-saving tackles in about as many minutes. It was Kidwell on the right-hand side of the field, David Penner on the left. It's a marvellous tackle, copybook stuff. You won't see better than that. And the icing on the cake was the fact he was able to take him over the sideline. And great camera work as well.
All right. Scrum then, 10 metres away from the Newcastle line. We'll just wait and make sure that they do win it. They do. Back to you, Steve.
Thanks, Ray. We've got Justin still with us. Did Brian Smith say anything about the hole that Parramatta fell in the last 15 minutes of that first half?
Yeah, he said we really needed to lift and make sure that we control the ruck area. If we control that area, we can get our line speed going forward and stop their offloads, and that's halfway to beating Newcastle.
All right, Justin, thanks very much for your time, mate.
Thanks very much.
I'll just do Newcastle quickly. Warren Ryan, he said, look, we're making plenty of mistakes coming in our own end, but when we get up there, we showed that we can score points. He said we've got to control the football a little bit better. He said we've got to leave nothing in the tank because this is the last throw of the dice for us. And I'll tell you what, all the signs are there that they can win the game, this Newcastle side.
Thank you, Steve. Andrew Johns looks for a gap. He puts it on the chest of O'Davis. O'Davis is tackled 31 metres away from the Parramatta line. Medeiros then to the left of the ground for Andrew Johns to give it to Peter Shields. And Shields puts a kick in. It's not a bad kick, actually. Little Luke Burt coming down with it, bringing a roar from the crowd.
Yeah, and the referee saying that the chaser in Adam McDougall contested the football. I'm not quite sure about that. I think he tried to tackle. Well, no, I'll take that back. Flew a touch early. And very surprising to see Peter Shields taking the kicking role.
Kelly bouncing away from shoulder charges. They're fine if they work. If they don't, they're an embarrassment. Schiavoletti. 5 metres his own side of halfway. The boot of Penner. Oh, a shocker. Well, now, he must have been offside. It's a penalty to Newcastle.
Oh, he was looking for Plugger in the forward pocket.
He's kicked it from centre-half forward to the man on the wing. It's been a beautiful mark, but it's given a penalty, Chief.
Just what Newcastle need. I know it's stated the obvious, but it's so important for both sides to get a good start, and they're both just throwing the ball away. Newcastle finally get a good crack at Parramatta's try line, and they're set out wide. Hopefully they'll have a good set.
Clinton O'Brien. Buderis for Andrew Johns, and then a floater out for Gidley. Puts a fend on. Albert's over. There he goes again. Darren Albert. V for victory on both hands.
And Brian Smith knows that it's been an awful start in the second half here. They had the opportunities at the other end, but Matthew Gidley, exactly like he did against St George Illawarra a couple of weeks ago, has just put it on a platter for Darren Albert. Good second phase play from Clinton O'Brien. Andrew Johns throws the ball out wide. And you see here Matthew Gidley, as we freeze play there, that's the man who has to take him, but have a look how he attracts the outside player for Parramatta in defence. That's McDougall in space on the outside. As play continues, he goes in and away, and that attracts Eric Graith into the action. And Darren Albert, with any room and his speed, is going to cross.
Yeah, well, what a try. This was good work by Clinton O'Brien here. Got that ball away. Good hands from Buderis to the maestro, Andrew Johns. A long ball. Now, he's got a particularly great palm anyway, but when you're throwing that little flick pass, he's just about unstoppable, and there's probably one of the fastest blokes in the league today, Darren Albert. And he loves scoring those tries. Right on the wing, he's very happy, and just what Newcastle need.
So we are locked up. 14-14. Jason Smith recovery. And a knee to the head, and he scored a try for Parramatta. Andrew is 9 metres in, 21 metres out. There it goes, and it's coming around, and it is there. Ooh, it's there, but only just. We break at the 49th minute. Something very, very tight going on here. As we welcome again our pay TV audience plus our audiences around the globe. Not necessarily taking the breaks that we're taking on the 9 Network during our live coverage here in Australia. Newcastle by 2. They led after 3 minutes with a converted try, but they've been playing catch-ups ever since. Peter Shields. Paul Harrigan, there does seem to be in the Newcastle team a desire or an urgency, an unnecessary urgency to offload the ball.
Yeah, I think they're probably just starting to panic a little bit in the first half there with a few offloads, and just again there with Shields. There's no need to do it. They just scored a great try. They are 2 points in front. They just did a nice set with a good kick and a great kick chase. Just start to get on top of the Parramatta Eels.
Big kick down the ground, fielded and brought back by Shavovsky. Through the tackle as he often does. 30-metre line, there's a Newcastle player still picking himself up. It is Shields. Dimmick now trying to make the break. To the short side for Kidwell, but outnumbered. Burt. Vella. Now he's in opposition territory. 50th minute of the game. Stivaletti. Newcastle inside the 10 again. What's that make the penalty count, Pete?
It's now 6-3, Ray, and again it's inside the 10. I wonder how many have been awarded for inside the 10. I can't remember Newcastle getting one.
Chance now for the Eels. Moran. That is Vella. Pate. Oh. Gave a short ball away for Stivaletti. Ball came loose, and now Newcastle gets a penalty.
Yeah.
Just having a look at this pass that Pay gave for Stivaletti, and Rudder was waiting for him.
Yeah, Sean Rudder was a great tackle there, but you'll know the little things in semi-final football is so important. And it comes down to penalties. That one could have been pretty dangerous for Newcastle then. Luckily, they turned it around with a great tackle from Rudder. They're back on the attack themselves.
What do you keep saying, Sterlo? It's a game of inches. And when you reflect on that try for Newcastle, one blemish on the David Penner game, and there's a try.
Ray, you know, these games, they go down to the little things. The things add up to be very important. And I suppose we should point out at this stage, even though there is half an hour to go in this match, at the moment, if Newcastle were to go on and win, Sydney City would already be out of the playoffs, despite the fact there's still a game to be played tomorrow.
Hughes linking up with McDougall. McDougall for Andrew Johns and then for Matthew Johns. They spread the ball from the left of the ground to the right of the ground in a split second. And then it's Gidley. Stephen Roach to report on Jason Smith quickly.
Yeah, big blow for Parramatta. Dr. Johnson has ruled him out of the game. They haven't been the same team since he's been off the field.
Albert playing the ball now, 28 metres away from the line. Out to O'Davis. O'Davis across to Andrew Johns. Andrew puts a low kick in behind Luke Burt. Burt's there with a mile of time. Gets it back into the field of play. Nice play by the young boy. Good work by Lukey Burt there. And David Kidwell brings it away. Gets it on. It's Eric Groth with the ball now.
Well, the referee's got Danny Badiris for staying too long in the tackle of Groth.
Eric, leave it to me.
The youth in this game of ours at the top level, I suppose it's the same right through sport, and it doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. Young Groth, young Burt. Once upon a time, if you were under 20, you were too young to play first grade, so they said. Parramatta then rucking it away. Not doing a bad job of it either. This has been a very good set for them. They're now just into Newcastle's territory as Dimmick, who takes on, or his role takes on new dimensions now, with no Jason Smith. Scivoletti showing it, keeping it. Kelly did well. Scivoletti backs up. Away now from Wagon for Groth, and Groth with that very familiar action. Oh, Jove, it does remind you of Dad. Now Moran, a little kick, brings O'Davis up. And O'Davis flung down 11 metres out from his own line. Tomorrow, the fourth qualifying final at Shark Park. That'll be a full house as Cronulla takes on Brisbane. You'll see it at 4 o'clock on the 9 Network tomorrow. O'Davis. Don't know that he's playing 100%, Robbie. Don't get me wrong, he's playing well, but probably hasn't had the input along the standard set by himself. Chivovsky. Burt. Pulled down by Hughes. A little bit of help from Badiris. Kelly. Confident picker. It was a scooper, and then Dimmick. And now McCracken. A one-hander back for Dimmick. Runs at a gap. Simpson closes it with Badiris, or it was Smales, in fact. Now on the halfway line, Kidwell. Scivoletti. Vella. Vella! Big run by Michael Vella! No, it's not. It's Scivoletti. Now Dimmick. They're mounting pressure. Tukey. Moran can't handle a bad pass. Before you blame Moran, the pass was not real good. Played by Badira. That is Smales now.
Well, the 4 or 5 times the Parramatta have had possession in the opponent's 20 in the second half, they have not got through to the last tackle. And that is a good way of releasing pressure on your opponents as Glenn Grief backs into a tackle, gets a pass away to Badiris, who really has had a great game, Danny Badiris. He's cleaned up plenty in the middle of the ruck.
Lomax. Halfway line coming up. There it goes. That's Simpson. Number 18. Peter. O'Davis shapes the kick. Albert. Groth missed it. Moran missed it. Wagon got him. Gidley. Andrew. kick is high and across the park for a running Luke Burt. Pulled down 20 metres out from his own line.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Pete. Both sides are having trouble building pressure. Newcastle have had a few problems with penalties of late, and Parramatta just can't quite seem to get a good kick at the end of the set of 6. It will come down to a mistake or something that someone doesn't do more so than a good play. Semi-final football is, as we said before, the little things.
Parramatta then holding it back towards the halfway line.
6 again. It was touched by the Newcastle tackler, and Glenn Grief still down, receiving some attention close to the 40-metre line as Kalis slips into a high tackle.
Dean Pay. Very busy game by Dean Schiavoletti. He's trying to generate something. It's not flowing as smoothly as it was earlier on. Kalis in jumper number 20. Got the ball away from Moran. Moran for Dimmick. Dimmick on the 10-metre line. Gets it back. It is Dean Pay who takes it ahead. Looks around. Finds support. And again, it's gone to ground.
Well, I think the intended receiver was tackled before he got the football. It's a photo finish, this one. I think it's Dennis Moran who was trying to back up Dean Pay. And now the choice here, do they kick for goal? No, it's a quick tap. Moran juggles the footy, slips over.
Centre of the ground. Tukey. They're going over. They're in Parramatta. Nathan Kalis has scored.
Well, Nathan Kalis has been tremendous off the bench. He must have seen Tony Butterfield in the opening minutes of this game, because he's come up with a very similar play. This was the big play leading up to it. Kalis heavily involved again. Moran offloading to Dimmick. He flings one out to Dean Pay. Now Pay in going back centre field or towards the centre, looks for Moran. And gee, I think that's a pretty tough call against Steve Simpson. I know the referee was in great position. It's all academic now. The left foot step from Kalis, and he carries the tackle of David Lomax over the line.
Yeah, certainly a great try for Parramatta. He's a good young kid, this Kalis. Very strong, right arm. A nice try. I tell you, I must give a little bit of a rap for Dennis Moran. I think he's had a great game, and I think Newcastle really got, as you can see here again in slow motion, just the power of him. I think he's only about 20 years of age, a big future. Good try.
Great quality in that run, Paul, was the fact that he's got some evasion. He's got a left foot step, so he's not a sitting target. And I really think that the step threw the Newcastle defence out. In fact, one of the defenders slipped over, and that made the job much easier.
Nathan Kalis a try. Running off a rather unlikely dummy half, Mark Tukey. Schiavoletti is not far off centre, as you can see. About 21 metres in from touch on the Michael Cronin stand side of the ground. A sea of red and blue scarves and jumpers behind you.
Don't read too much into it, Ray, but I think it's fair to say that the Parramatta camp will be very happy with Stephen Clark's performance tonight.
I don't think there's a vacant seat in the stadium. The space available is at the ends. Shot looking back into the Cronin stand. As Schiavoletti hits it, and he's got it. Another 2 points. Parramatta again a wheeling and dealing by 4 points. So Newcastle was anticipating a shallow restart, but they've delivered it long. Tukey met by Lomax. Heinman. Parramatta by 20 points to 16 over Newcastle. A match where the pendulum has swung from one side to the other. Heinman. Tomorrow we'll televise for you Cronulla versus Brisbane, Game 4 in the opening round of the Ansett Finals. Winners so far, Canterbury and St George Illawarra. Parramatta leading Newcastle at the moment by 4. A win by Newcastle. We'll see the... Well, he's got him to a knock on. That's brought the Blue and Gold Army to their feet.
Well, this will be very interesting to look at once again. Darren Albert running back towards his own try line. Let's see if the ball is propelled towards the opponents. Yes, it is.
I've got to say, it was a terrible bounce. The big bounce just before he knocked on was an awkward one for him. But Newcastle Knights will have to show their strength now, how much they really want to win this game. Parramatta are on a surge. They hit the blind side right now.
So here they go again, Parramatta. So close with David Penner. Pass way out in front of Hindmarsh. There they are. Scuvoletti sweeping. Pay. Inside the 10. Scuvoletti. Oh, David Penner has run plumb into a shoulder.
Andrew Johns, Ray. I think it's 7 on 7.
Oh, dear.
It's a fair collision.
Joey Johns, he's got a dislocated shoulder himself and just dropped that right shoulder and right into the chest and the sternum. Looks like Andrew hurt himself a little bit in that tackle, but well, hopefully not too bad. But put his side back on the attack. Great tackle.
Paul, the great backs, the champion players in our code, the Brett Kennys, the Wally Lewises, the Steve Rogers, they were as good a defenders as what they were with the football in their hands, and Johns fits into that category.
He certainly does. With the skill and all the rest that he has, both John's boys, they are tenacious and great defenders, and that's what makes them an overall great players that they are.
So the Knights rally from their own line with McDougall. 17 and a half minutes of the match remaining.
I've got to say, Parramatta's spirit of the line is absolutely superb at the moment. Newcastle having trouble getting out of their own half.
O'Brien. Switching the point of the attack to come down the blind side with O'Davis on the 5th tackle. And they only went 29 metres. McDougall drops it onto the right foot. And the ball comes down for Badeiras. But it's been propelled forward. And it'll be a turnover for Parramatta. And some of the things that Danny Badeiras has done tonight has emphasised the potential that we knew the boy had. Jovi's had a good game. Handling errors, balancing out. Wagon halfway low. Dennis, try scorer. 40-metre line, just in front of him. Scuvoletti. Kuki. Scuvoletti's been good. Dimmick. He's in charge now. Javotsky. Again for Jim. Then away from Moran. For Dean Pay. And Pay gets a pass away. Moran on the 10. Centre ground. Tackle 5. Dimmick. Dimmick. Work for McDougall. And in goal it is forced by McDougall.
Well, Luke Burt there, very disappointed. He had a good play at it. In fact, I think he might have even got the football. Great offload from Dean Pay to Dennis Moran. And a wonderful support player tonight, Dennis Moran. And a precision kick from Jimmy Dimmick. Luke Burt almost in the arms. It came free, unfortunately for Newcastle, and Adam McDougall under his body.
It's been a pretty good battle between those two wingers, Luke Burke and Adam McDougall. Adam McDougall trying to get out of the top with his physical strength. But he's a great talent, Luke Burke. Great leap into the air then.
Newcastle player getting some attention. Is it McDougall? Or?
Certainly hard to make out at the moment.
The director's telling me that it's Peter Shields. That well might be.
Thought he'd have a longer leg.
Well, I did think he would have longer legs than that, and I've never seen Peter Shields from that angle before. And to be honest with you, I don't particularly want to see it again. But it was Peter Shields, the brother-in-law of Greg Alexander, I think. With the trivia buff. Now the Eels. Made a spectacular burst about 10 minutes back. 15 to go now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Parramatta by 4.
And Newcastle's whole season comes down to the last 15 minutes, and Sydney City players sitting at home willing the blue and gold's on.
McCracken, knees high and pumping. Now, Skiffaletti! Skiffaletti! Stephen Clark wants to take a look at it. But I'll tell you something, if it's a try for the number 9, it is the most deserved try of the night.
He either just got it down or he lost it.
I feel as though this may be a green light. I tend to think that he gets the football down and possibly loses it after the ball has made contact with the ground. Let's have a look at it. Rolling over, ball going towards, well, not a definitive shot there, and if anything, that one probably suggested he lost the football. What about from this side, Chief?
Well, I don't know how, it's hard with slow motion to determine how long he's been held up. I think there's no pressure being put down there and downward force.
No, it's no try.
Certainly lost that. And I tell you, they've been looking very dangerous, Parramatta. A crucial time for Newcastle. If they would have scored then, I would hesitate to say with 14 minutes to go, it'd be very hard for them to come back. But hopefully for Newcastle, they will see a red light very shortly.
That's a red light, or it should be a red light. I've got absolutely no doubt that he loses control of it, and there's no downward pressure on the football.
I tell you what, the Parramatta team have been well drilled. They've all gone back waiting for the kickoff.
They are very confident.
They look confident. Maybe that's part of the coaching, but there's the red light. You better come back, boys. Steve Rowe, sideline.
I'll tell you what, if there's a team in the competition that can find something, it's this Newcastle Knights. They've done it plenty of times before, but they used up plenty of petrol in that first half defending. I just wonder, at the back end of this game, and Parramatta have really lifted a couple of notches.
By Jove, he's had a big game. Paul Harrigan, I'd rather ask you than Peter, because you're obviously rooting for the others. Skiffaletti.
Oh, he certainly has. I think both hookers have had great games, and great service, great darling from dummy halves. We see a good set move from Newcastle.
Now the Knights. They've come from nowhere to win before and win the games that matter. O'Brien, 40-metre line. 13 minutes to go.
I'm just going to watch Darren Albert for the next 13 minutes.
The captain. Last tackle for the bomb. It's not the bomb. It came off the back of a Parramatta player. Burt. Tackled on his own 20-metre line.
That was really a poor kick from Andrew Johns. I believe he's got the best kicking game in general play in the competition, but that was not one of his best.
Dean Payne. Retiring at the end of the year. They will miss him. So will rugby league, incidentally. He's played the game at the highest level. Dimmock. Newcastle, if they can win, will put Sydney City away, but Parramatta's away. Pennis kick ahead. Look at Growth. Look at Growth. Oh, he's dropped out of the cloud. He has come out of the cloud.
Well, Stephen Clark has gone to the video ref to see whether Eric Growth is onside. The Parramatta players even more confident than the last time he went to the video ref. Skiffaletti again carved them up from dummy half. Kelly gets the kick away just as he's tackled by Darren Albert. Eric Growth is 6 or 7 metres onside, and he's got super pace. And Ray Warren was calling that 10-15 years ago. Here comes Growth. Look at Growth.
Oh, look at this. The green light is there. And the running action of this young man is identical to his old man.
This is unbelievable, the pace that he shows here. And keep in mind, he's got the ball down in front of Robbie O'Davis.
Well, what a try. Look at him. He's a big physical lad for such a young guy. But you're right, Skiffoletti before set that try up. He's had a great game, as you can see here. Tremendous pace, instant pace straight away. Chews up the yards, a good right foot step. Picks up Stewart, who does well to regain balance. Gets in the full stride. Nice little chip through there. Eric Growth, Johnny on the spot. Look at the size of him. He's going to be a big lad. And a tough one for Newcastle now. It's with about 11 minutes to go. They need to get back. And Parramatta, I can tell you, looking by their body language back in their own half, are very excited, very pumped up. They can't wait for the next set of 6. And look at this. Robbie O'Davis trying to do his best, just can't match him.
What about when you put a stone on Eric Growth, which will happen
for sure
over the next year or two? It is going to be something awesome. And look, we don't mean to put too much pressure on the kid. And yes, he's got great genes. But you've got to say that if you know anything about rugby league, you look at him and say, well, he is going to be something special. Perfect illustration there, Paul, of bad market play. They had one on the ground, and David Lomax, he went before acceptances. He went to the left and forced Skiffoletti to go the other way.
Yeah, the last couple of played the balls before Skiffoletti ducked off were really quick, and Newcastle just lost control. They couldn't get back, and the markers were kind of left on the ground, but in no man's land. Important kick here too.
Szymanski from the sideline, and he's got it. Icing on the Eric Growth cake. 26-16. It would seem pretty safe to say it's exit Newcastle. Shallow restart as we welcome you back. Szymanski immediately putting Parramatta on the track to where they just came from. Burt. Now Dean Pay leads the attack. Bumping and charging his way down. 26-16. And the Eels are doing it again. Vella. Skiffoletti blindside. David Penner heading for the sideline. Got the ball away. Oh dear, I think Darren Albert might be the man on the sideline.
He's got Darren Albert for raking the football out. He didn't want to, Darren Albert. It was just there, and got to grab it here.
He was like a kid in the candy store with his hand in the jar. Not me, sir. Sorry, you're gone.
And despite the fact they are on a roll, they're taking the option of kicking for goal, and it is the right play. If Clinton Szymanski can put this one over, it will extend the lead to 12 points, and they will not get beaten in this game if this goes over.
So where are we now?
Well, I tell you what, that's very hard.
No, he didn't strip it. David Penner lost it.
He lost that ball. Darren Albert had no other choice except to pick it up. The ball was squeezed out the end. And I tell you what, it is a crucial decision, because even if Parramatta elected to go with their set of 6 and play it out, enormous pressure for Newcastle. And as Rab said, if they do kick this goal, it's pretty well good night, although Newcastle can come home late, that's for sure.
Let me just go back to that question I asked, where are we now, apart from Parramatta Stadium? Sydney City can breathe easy for a night.
Yes.
But if Brisbane beat Cronulla, they are gone tomorrow night.
That's exactly right. St George Illawarra.
Right. So the club that is breathing easier is Melbourne.
Yes.
Okay.
Because at one stage, we looked like having 3 of the bottom 4 teams winning. That was if Newcastle could get home here, and all of a sudden, teams that finished 3rd and 4th were in all sorts of trouble. Melbourne and Sydney City.
Might I say that you're looking a lot better too. Your colours improved.
Thanks, Ray. I've got a bit of sun today. I was out mowing.
Tell you what, my colour's just about drained.
The Chiefs doing it very tough.
20-metre line. Look at the bloke cheering up in row 5. Szymanski. It's got the height, it's got the length, and it has got the direction. What did the father of them say? It's got, no, he said it's long enough, it's high enough, and it's 2 points.
Well, that goal ensures that Parramatta will not get beaten in this game. It may be that Newcastle can come up with a magic act and score 2 converted tries, but they haven't got time to do any more than that. And I don't even want to think about what a draw means. Well, in fact, if we go to extra time, 10 each way. Parramatta, I think it's safe to say, have got rid of the Newcastle Knights.
Peter Shields doing his damnedest to prove you wrong. McDougall, straight and hard.
He's had a good game today, Adam McDougall.
Andrew, Shields, dummy, looks, nobody there. Badiris, Andrew, Matthew. Comes back to the left of the ground. Picks up Peter. Chance on here. And Luke Bird is there to clean up again. Kidwell making a break from his own 10-metre line. Team 2 versus Team 7. Vella. Kelly played a marvellous role in the try scored by Eric Groth Jr. Wagon. Congratulations to St George Illawarra today. That's a big effort. Travelling to Melbourne, big crowd down there, wet weather. And coming back with your quarter-final. The heads are gone down. David Lomax in a similar posture to Paul Harrigan. In fact, the Chief is the only commentator I've seen looking at the floor of the broadcasting box for the last 10 minutes.
I'm doing it tough, I can tell you.
Well, you've had a tough year.
Yeah, I'd say that the boys are a little bit disappointed at the moment. With 6 minutes left to go, there's probably 3 or 4 sets, attacking sets each for each side. Newcastle could probably afford to settle down a little bit and build. They're looking to spread the ball and score a try straight away, and they probably need to do that, but yeah, interesting. Ray,
I tend to think that you can't come into a quarter-final series with 2 losses in the last 2 premiership rounds, one of them going down by 42 points. I just can't see how your confidence can be too high after that. Even if you have got the Johns brothers there, as Danny Badiris kicks one out deliberately for his outside chase, as Eric Groth there to clean up. He'll be tackled in the in-goal area for a line dropout.
Yeah, the pace has certainly dropped off now. Parramatta slowly walking to the end goal. As you can see here, it was a good kick, great kick chase here from Matthew Gidley. He just gets, that was Darren Albert who got there at the end, but held him up. Hopefully Newcastle can just concentrate on this set of 6 and just score on a try, finish on a bit of a high, complete this set. Very nice.
Just as a sidelight, did you happen to notice the pace off the mark of Growth? He turned to clean that ball up and he'd gone from stopped to full speed in just a blink of an eye.
I think both him and Luke Burt are specials. They're great talents, and in particular what you said, their speed. Something very special.
Peden, which begs the question, I suppose, what's he going to do with Jason Moody? Now it's Andrew John from Mark Hughes, a dummy to McDougall, and takes the tackle.
Get off him! Get off him!
10 metres from the Eels line. McDougall, short ball away for Badiris for Matthew Johns, but it's forward. Ball being called back. 28-16 with 4.5 minutes of this live telecast of the semi-final to go. And the pass from McDougall to Badiris was forward.
Well, I tell you what, he's got the slide rule out there. There's only millimetres in that one.
I think Adrian Lamb feels the same way from last night. Heinmar. Kelly. Offloading, supported by Penner. Penner to his own 40-metre line. Incidentally, the Saturday night telecast next Saturday will be live again at 7:30. As McCracken reaches the 40-metre line, Newcastle's end of the park. from Dimmick. Finding Penner. Burt is after it. The race is on. Albert and Growth, and Albert is there first. Great contest, a great foot race. Three of the fastest men in the game, Albert, Growth and Burt. Sit back and watch them now. Burt's the little hare going after it. Look at Big Growth and Albert. They don't come much faster than that trio.
Peter, do you think Brian Smith will be particularly happy with this? Obviously he will be happy with it because they won, but is the form good enough going into the next game?
Form's great, Paul. Well, here's a attempted short restart, so we'll see a penalty right in front of the posts. And this will blow the lead out to 14 points. Yeah, this form's, I think it's excellent, Paul. I think that the forwards have been strong. The thing that has probably impressed me most with Parramatta tonight has been their second phase play. I do believe that for a part of this year they had trouble getting their attack going and definitely scoring points from the opponents inside the opponent's 20-metre line. Now, with the offloads, second phase play, they're as dangerous as they are with the football as they are without.
There's certainly an anonymous sign for the opposition that because Smith and Dimmick are so much of an ad-lib players, and when their passes do stick and those offloads do come on, they're just about impossible to stop. Although they do chance their hand a lot, and sometimes you can force errors in them. Clinton O'Brien there, very disappointed.
I think that's a salient point tonight, especially Rabs, the fact that much of this game has gone on without Jason Smith. Hasn't been there for the second half, and many people still look upon him as the linchpin of this team. I think the second half has shown that that's not necessarily the case.
Shivovsky to push this margin out to 14 points. It's going to take 16 from 28. Wish I had have gone through to my leaving certificate, Peter. Clinton from right in front. He's really working the clock now. He's taken an age with this. Robbie O'Davis gives him the signal. The tarmac is clear. You can approach now. 18 personal points for Clinton Shivovsky. 30 points to 16. Parramatta have got Newcastle out of the 1999 battle. It is over for the Knights, the club that has given us so many rugby league thrills since they entered the competition. I will never forget, and I'm sure Paul Aragon will never forget, the 1997 grand final victory, and they have continually been one of the crowd-pleasing sides. It will be quite desolate, really, without them in the final six that we will have on Sunday night.
It's certainly a funny feeling that knowing that Newcastle won't be there next week. It is a disappointing year. I'm sure a lot of the Newcastle Knights fans at home there in the Hunter Valley will be disappointed, but certainly these boys did try their hardest tonight, and Parramatta are a quality side, a great chance of taking out the competition.
So there's the siren. Stephen Clark acknowledges that he's heard it. The kick ahead by Newcastle, and young Growth fends away from one, is gentled by the Newcastle defence in the final tackle of the game. Parramatta have defeated Newcastle 30 points to 16, and Parramatta will take a week's rest. Newcastle will be back in February. It is full time. Parramatta 30, Newcastle 16.